no. They presented their runners-up medals because Boulder won it. They presented their runners-up medals to Colorado, and Boulder gave the trophy, kept the medals, but gave the trophy to San Diego, which at our tailgate later in that evening was sitting promptly under our tent with our flags. So it was a great time. After that, I think everyone kind of got freshened up and went on the Austin Spurs pub crawl, which was through like 6 or 7 venues through downtown Denver. I managed to hook up for one of them at the Jagged Mountain Brewery, and it was an absolute laugh. I think we posted a photo of that from that stop on the big page on official Dallas Spurs on Facebook, and it was a right laugh. I had to leave after that, get the tailgate set up. There were 2 tailgates going on. There was the official Colorado Spurs one, which was under the auspice of a West Ham flag. Still don't understand that, and nor does anyone else that was on our tailgate, which was, we had the flags of Dallas Spurs, San Diego Spurs. We had some folks from San Francisco, Pittsburgh, Nashville, LA, and we were the noisy ones. We were the unruly ones, because here's the part that really irks me, and we can certainly talk about this before we even get into the game itself, which there really isn't a lot to say about the game. It's an exhibition game with a ton of different players, and the highlight of that obviously was Harry Kane's cracking goal, which was awesome. But I'll pose this question to you guys in a minute. But there were a few Arsenal fans out in the car park while we were tailgating, and a few were just like waving at us, and we just gave them the bird the V's and called them wankers, and off they went. In fact, one guy parked his car almost next to me. He was on his own. He got out. He had a Bellerin shirt on. I went up to him and says, "Mate, you spelled bell end wrong, but I would just go that way and have a nice day."
How do you misspell bell end? Oh
Bellerin.
My God!
Bellerin.
Wait, so
I said you spelled bell end wrong. Wake up there, Kenny, mate.
So you're kicking it off like...
Oh my God!
But that he was fine. He was fine. It's just I get it, mate, and off he went. But the others were egging it on a bit, and you don't egg it on when you've got 500 Spurs fans around you. The worst thing was the shuttle started to come in. 2 Arsenal fans got off the bus, boyfriend, girlfriend. They got their shirts on, and they have scarves that say "We Hate Tottenham." I don't own a "We Hate Arsenal" scarf.
I wouldn't
personally, I would never
with
go to any game that Arsenal's playing other than the North London derby wearing a Spurs shirt and not expect to get abused. It's just asking for the absolute world's worst ridicule. So, once everybody saw, and we probably had a good 60 or 70 people hanging out in our tailgate, drinking lots of ale, by the way. Lots of very good ale from our friend Matt Downey. So we kind of walked our way towards these Arsenal fans and abused them. I mean, it just had to be done when you've got scarves that say "We Hate Tottenham." And I think 2 people actually went over there and kind of rubbed their shirts in their faces. I think one said Rose on the back of the shirt for obvious reasons from his debut goal. And someone actually pulled the scarf off and threw it on the floor. So it ran the risk of getting a bit ugly. But,
wow.
I have to ask you guys, would you ever go to an All-Star game? Let's say the All-Star game was in Frisco and Arsenal were playing. Would you go with the Tottenham shirt on and expect to enjoy yourself?
Nope.
No. I think if they would have gotten off the bus with a shirt, fair enough. Okay, fine. I mean, that deserves some. I mean, a little bit of needling, but there's a line to cross there. But if you're going to come off with not just your kit, but "We Hate Spurs" or "We Hate Tottenham," no, absolutely. Then it's fair game, because I mean that's a wind up to us. So, but anyway, it's just banter.
This was good banter.
Yeah, I know.
During the game, I think it was the start of the second half. We're in sections 1. Spurs had a lot of sections. 2 young lads, I don't know, they were 15 or 16 at a push. They go running down to the front between 2 packed Tottenham sections, put their phone camera up. What do we think of Tottenham? Yeah, they did the Jack Wilshere song. And everyone just were completely switched off from what was going on the pitch, looked at these two Muppets and said, really? And suddenly their way out was blocked as everyone converged into the aisle between the two sections, and it was priceless as their faces went from sheer glee from their prank to basically they were touching cloth. They went pale as a ghost, and they got abused rotten and escaped with their lives. So, there was some good friendly banter stuff. There was some kind of dodgy stuff a bit later on, but we won't go there.
Nah.
But
it sounds like a good time.
Great trip. It was a great trip. Ken, you were at the tailgating in Chicago, and that was great. But we didn't have to deal with any gooners. This was just phenomenal. The amount of Arsenal fans that thought they would come out and get one on us, and it was never going to happen. So, fuck off, you wankers.
And you know.
I would have loved for you to got arrested. Oh my God,
I was close, mate. I was close. Trust me.
I've seen him when he's close
what I really
too.
What I really took umbrage with was the two little tosspots who, and let's face it, I don't know, in that group, how many English guys were there? Maybe 4 or 5. But 2 jumped up arseholes decided to start, and they weren't wearing Arsenal shirts. They were wearing Colorado Rapids shirts, but they were standing with the Arsenal supporters and said, "Well, if it wasn't for us, you'd all be talking German." I'm like, seriously, you want to go there? Yeah, that got ugly. But anyway, good trip, loved it.
I should have gone. It's such a beautiful place and great atmosphere.
Great experience for everyone from Dallas Spurs that went up there, and every supporters club from around the country. Granted, we didn't win, but I think the place went nuts when Harry scored. And going back to Ali's point about the Gooners not realizing they're owned by an American club, he owns the Colorado Rapids. So the irony is we're sitting in a stadium that's got a freaking Arsenal plaque on the wall.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
which is probably why there's so many Gooners there.
And very quick,
probably.
He is getting ready to pull another Woolwich in the NFL. He desperately wants out of St. Louis for the Rams.
Yeah.
And he is reasonably close to pulling off a deal to move that team to LA. So I find that the beautiful irony, right? That the same owner of Arsenal is pulling a Woolwich again, just taking his team up from one city.
Can you imagine? You just said that. Can you imagine the turmoil?
Yeah,
the burn down of a stadium.
Yeah,
if he didn't go to L.A. and the Rams, owned by the Gooner, end up in Tottenham's new stadium. In London.
He's doing a deal where he's basically trying to hold the city for ransom, and he wants a new stadium, and he's basically saying, well, fine, if you don't build it for me, I'll just piss off up to L.A. because they definitely want him. So I wouldn't want that to happen to L.A. But I wouldn't mind having negative press on Arsenal's owner for just
don't want him to end up in London.
Yep.
Don't put him in our stadium.
Sorry, didn't mean to get sidetracked there, but that was a bit timely.
And then shortly after the All-Star game, we kind of touched on the Audi thing a little bit. Nothing really miraculous came out of that other than Chadley's left-footed strike and the new third kit, which I was really going, oh God, please don't make it look like Hugo's keeper kit last year because that was just awful.
World's worst kept secret. I mean, the club had promoted it, I think, the day before. Right. And everyone's like, why don't we know about this? Why don't we know? Of course, the penny drops. Well, they're going to unveil it during the game. Of course, we expected something rather than them coming onto the field and then taking their tracksuit tops. They even had their tracksuit tops zipped all the way to the top, so you didn't know. But
but they were purple too, though.
You could see the shorts.
Yeah, but the trackies were purple as well, though, weren't they?
Right. And once you saw all that, you knew that the images we'd seen a month or so earlier, was the kit, not that horrible stripe thing we saw that we were discussing on the last podcast. So I like it.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed it's not in long sleeve right now because I want to get a long sleeve shirt and I don't own one.
Well, one of the cool things about the shirt is the accent on the sleeves. So I know you like long sleeves, but it's a beautiful shirt. Yeah. I'm definitely going to get it. I was praying it was going to be purple. I'm so glad it is. It's gorgeous.
Here's an interesting topic. I was having a conversation with one of our early members, Vicky Haynes Larson, who unfortunately couldn't be with us. She is on the road to delivering twins. So shout out to Vicky. But we were having a conversation the other day. I know some older guys like me don't really want to even put name and numbers on the back anymore. But the conversation came up. Who would you put on the back of your shirts for 4 shirts this season? And it got us discussing, well, everyone's putting Kane, and granted, a lot of fans bought off-the-shelf name and numbered 18 Kane shirts because the away shirt was available for sale in Denver. In fact, my son was so agitated because they'd sold out, and then he saw people who'd gone back in the later one. We thought, no, that's all the stock we've got. Who managed to then get Harry Kane shirts with 18? But I digress. I reminded him the other day when the squad numbers came out, I said, aren't you glad you don't have a Kane 18 shirt when it's going to be Kane 10? And obviously he was happy. But besides Kane, I'm of the mindset you put heroes on the back of the shirt. Do we have any heroes? I know that's a touchy subject, but do we have any heroes on this squad that would say, I've got to get his name and number on my shirt?
No.
Not yet.
No. In fact, we lack a leader. I mean, with the exception of Hugo, I mean, we lack a real leader to galvanize somebody around. I mean, a leader within the context of the great leaders that we've had at this club. We don't have one. No, so we don't have a hero. No.
So
potentially,
Ken,
we'll see.
Ken,
yeah.
Who would you pick to put on a shirt this season? Don't say Lamella, because you can't say that boat, that ship has sailed.
I would. You know what? I've honestly kind of told myself that the next kit that I get with a name on the back is going to be a number 6 Dave Mackay.
That's a great point, and I'll come back to that. Sam?
But yeah, no, nothing with a name. I agree with Vicky.
No, wouldn't do it. Wouldn't do it. Hope to one day want to put Kane. That he'd be that guy. He's the closest thing. I shouldn't have sold him short.
We're going to sell Dele Alli to Real Madrid in 2 years, so why? I'm not even going to bother getting a number 20 kit.
I just want this window to be over with so I can start feeling a little bit better about being constructive about Enix's ways and.
No, because you're just going to start obsessing about the winter window next.
No. I've got at least a few months before that sets in.
So here's what I'm going to do, and this is probably a nod. One, it is a nod to the past, but two, it'll be a happy memory from our trip over to the lane in May. But I'm thinking of going old school, and I'm going to put Martin Chivers on my shirt.
There you go.
Yeah. You should put Mullery for ignoring him.
That was good.
I don't know why they just gave me the
guys, there's Alan Mullery.
Well,
you put
everybody ignored me.
You put Chivers.
He came back and said, he's back again, and you were
no.
you were all kissing Mickey Hazard's. Yeah.
Look, you know what? You got a picture with Chivers, and you got a picture with Mickey, and you got a picture with Ozzy, but you hugged Ricky.
Yeah. I did.
You need to get a Via. I think a Via.
You can't put Via on the back of a shirt in Texas.
Hey, real quick, guys.
What is that?
Poncho Villa?
No. Is that Aston Villa?
Oh,
no.
God. If you don't know your Texas history, you're now lost officially.
Yeah, I'm going with Chivers. I have to go with Martin.
You two, real quick, because I know we're running out of time. But there's two guys that asked questions that I just want to very quickly touch on because they were gracious to take the time to ask. Skipjack, who's involved with Carlet's Free Guys out of Baltimore and various other places in the States. He says, when does the meltdown start? I think we're games away from that, but we're certainly going to feel tensions if we go down against Stoke at home. What's that? Sounds great. Cider?
No.
And then Nikhil Siglani, who as each season passes, he gets more and more notoriety and cred. He's writing, I think, for even more people now. He says, but Nikhil, this is a bit of a silly question. Why do Spurs fans default to moan every time something remotely bad happens? Because we love this club. Come on, you know that. And where's the positivity gone? Well, the positivity just kind of comes and goes, right? It comes and goes when we kind of sort of dance around with success or nice football.
Listen, no one's more positive about things than me. I always try to find silver linings in things, and I've been beat up about it a few times because sometimes people just want to bitch and moan. You know, they've invested so much money, whether it be in, Ollie and Chris, some of my friends over there, and I know Rob White and Canute and some of the other people that we met while we were over there last May, they all went to Manchester and put up that money, and, if they'd stayed in a hotel and all. Listen, you want to see them pop in some goals, but listen, the fact remains, we outplayed them. We outplayed Manchester United on their park.